What is going on, guys? This is your role model of the IWC Gamers Goon here today with your AEW full gear preview and predictions. This is a show that is much needed. This show I can't be more excited for. It is coming off a very stressful week. Obviously, in the United States, we got the elections here. So a lot of people are invested in that. There's a lot of turmoil up in the air. It's nice to, this weekend, we can put it all behind us. We can sit back, we can relax, we can watch some good old wrestling, calm the nerves down, calm the whatever. Just calm down and be at peace once again. Be at peace. But we got this show ahead of us here on Saturday night. I felt comfortable coming on here before AEW. I wasn't going to review AEW tonight just because I've been exhausted. Been up much of the night last night, following what's going around the country. But this match just got announced, so I felt comfortable enough to come on here and go over this card without watching AEW yet. I will be watching it, but I will not be reviewing AEW, as you guys would have already figured that out by now. But we got Serena Deeb, the NWA Women's World Champion, announced for the pre-show against Allison Kay. Yeah, Allison Kay. She just got she just became a free agent recently, I believe, in the past week or so. And that's a name that has been floating around that possibly AEW could sign. Also known as Sienna. I would take a good long look at her from Tony Khan, to be honest with you, because the women's division, it needs some help. They might get Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa says that it's not 100% certain that she's going to the WWE. They might get her, but they need all the help they can get. Allison Kay is a big name, a very good talent. I would love to see them be able to pick Allison Kay up. As for this match here on the pre-show, I imagine it's going to get maybe around 7 to 8 minutes. Let Allison Kay get acquainted with the AEW audience, introduce her, just so we can start getting familiar with Allison Kay. But at the end of the day, Serena Deeb just won the NWA Women's World Championship at the last NWA show against Thunder Rosa. There's a very small chance that I think she will drop it to Allison Kay. So I'm just gonna have to take Serena Deeb just to have. I mean, it's not really AEW's the title to flip-flop around. Maybe they get NWA's permission. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to go with a solid match, making Allison Kay look good, look like maybe AEW should start taking a deeper look at her to bring her in. But I think Serena Deeb is gonna end up winning on the pre-show or the buy-in. And we also have another match, which I believe I think it was scheduled to be on the buy-in, but now that I'm looking at the card, I think this might have got moved up because Serena Deeb and Allison Kay got put on the pre-show. But Orange Cassidy versus John Silver, I thought this was going to be on the buy-in. John Silver, he's been a name that on television, he's more like comedy relief. But he's been blowing up on the YouTube scene with being the Elite, being the Dark Order, more specifically. Why is it always something with fucking Silver, to quote Brody Lee? But, I mean, John Silver is great. I think he's a very charismatic individual. He's good in the ring, but at the end of the day, you're going against one of the most charismatic individuals, one of the best in-ring performers in all of AEW, if you ask me, in Orange Cassidy, a guy that I think should be going on to win the, or at least being positioned to go on to the AEW World Championship scene or the TNT Championship scene. But I think he should be getting that momentum. I believe he will be able to pick up that momentum on Saturday night. I got him beating John Silver in that match. Next, we got the Elite Deletion match between Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. This is good for everybody involved. Obviously, Sammy Guevara got some backlash because of the last match, where he accidentally injured Matt Hardy. Obviously, if you're the one that injures somebody, you're going to get the backlash. I don't put that all in Sammy. The spot should have never been done. There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's unfortunate. I hated to get the backlash. Matt Hardy probably shouldn't have took that spot. Matt Hardy's an older individual. I mean, health risks there. But the Elite Deletion match, if it is what I think it's going to be, it should be more the cinematic matches that we've been getting used to over this pandemic. This should be very similar to the Final Deletion that we got to see in Impact. This should be something around that nature. This might be something like when we saw when Matt Hardy just debuted in AEW. We saw him go to the Jericho mansion. Jericho released the dogs on him, but I believe this could be an actual match similar to what we got at the Final Deletion in Impact. So I don't really know. The match style favors Matt Hardy just because it's his match. But I'm not 100% confident in it. I guess I'll just take Matt Hardy because it's the most obvious choice. But I could see a scenario where Sammy Guevara wins that match. Then we get Hikaru Shida defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Nyla Rose. I've said it 1,000 times. The next women's champion is going to be Britt Baker. I don't care who you put in the path of Hikaru Shida. It ain't going to work. Nyla Rose, she's already been a champion. I don't need to see it again. The build to the match hasn't been that great. Very underwhelming, if you ask me. The way they went about announcing the match, they literally just had Hikaru Shida come out in a random promo with no provocation whatsoever. She literally just said, "You know what? I'm gonna fight Nyla Rose at Full Gear." I'm not a big fan of the story. Not a big fan of Nyla Rose getting the victory here, just because there's no story really behind it. I think Britt Baker is the right call in the next few months for that women's division to put the reins on and let her command ship around in the AEW women's locker room. So I'm going to take Hikaru Shida to successfully defend her AEW women's championship at Full Gear. Next, we got a match that I am very excited for. We got the Hangman Adam Page going against Kenny Omega, and the winner of this match will get a future AEW World Championship title opportunity. The story, I think we all know the story. It's been going on for the last year. They were forced to team up because, let's be honest, Kenny Omega, he came into AEW, he wasn't at the spot where he wanted to be. He thought he was going to be the main event. He thought he was going to be the ace. Hangman Page, he came into AEW, he instantly got his success. But he failed at All Out. He failed against Chris Jericho. And that leads them together. They have to team up. Neither man could get it done on their own. They needed to do something. They went out, they won the tag team championships. They were one of the best tag teams of the year, if you ask me. Better than the Young Bucks, if you ask me. Better than the Lucha Brothers, if you ask me. They were a top-tier tag team. But then we saw the pieces start to crumble once FTR came in. We saw Hangman slowly drift away from Kenny. We saw Kenny slowly drift away from Hangman. Kenny started growing this kind of distance that he wanted to create between him and Hangman. He wasn't messing with the vibes Hangman was getting. Hangman started hanging out with the FTR guys. He started ditching on Kenny. And then, at all out, the mind games eventually got to him. Hangman, he was lured in by FTR, kind of undertook him. FTR was able to win the championships. Kenny, at the end of the night, he didn't care anymore. He didn't care because they got to Hangman. Hangman cost himself. Kenny Omega, he has it. So that story should tell you that Kenny Omega would win this match. That story should tell you that Hangman, since he was the one that was sort of creating this gap between him and Kenny, he should be the one that goes under. But I believe he wins. I believe he wins for the simple fact that last year he couldn't get the job done. He couldn't beat Chris Jericho. What's Jon Moxley got left? What's Jon Moxley got left if he somehow gets past Eddie Kingston? Maybe Pac. But other than that, nobody else is ready. Unless it's Kenny or Hangman. Jericho, he doesn't make much sense. I believe he's supposed to be going out in a little bit. He's already beat MJF. Cody can't compete. So, realistically, The winner of this match should be your next AEW champion. And yes, Cleaner Omega does seem like a good idea as the champion. It does. It's not a debatable fact. But you cannot argue that Hangman has turned a complete 180 since last year. Last year, he went into All Out with no fanfare. None. Everybody wanted to see Jericho. He was missing something. Nobody could tell what it was, but he was missing just something that could have put him over the edge. This year, he has it. He found it. He found it with the cowboy shit. He found it when he was drinking alcohol. He found it when he just did not care anymore. He found himself. Now the fans love him. Now the fans love him. All because you put a beer in this guy's hand and had him act like everybody else. It's really that simple. And at the end of the day, if I'm the one booking this, I'm looking at how can we capitalize the most? Yes, Cleaner Omega is ideal for a lot of scenarios. But I think the upside to putting a Hangman with a lot of fanfare that is still up and coming, still a guy that you want to be the face of your brand, if you give him the championship now, that could skyrocket him to levels that I don't think you even know he can reach. So that's why I would take Hangman. That's why I would go with Hangman. Obviously, Kenny's the main name, but I'm just gonna have to go with my gut on this. I'm gonna have to take Hangman Adam Page. I'll probably be repping my Hangman Adam Page shirt. Repping Ricky Starks today. He doesn't have a match on Full Gear, but I'm gonna have to probably pull out the Hangman shirt for Full Gear. Next, we got, what do I want to go over next? Let's go over Chris Jericho versus MJF. We all know how we got here. It all started with that limousine scene after All Out. We have MJF pull up, Chris Jericho pull up. They both make jokes with each other, go their separate ways. What a loser. Come back. Same thing. They go through it. They said, you know what? I was talking about the driver. I wasn't talking about you. We're best friends. We're best friends. They have one of the best segments of 2020. They honestly did. And Dinner Debonair. I actually got a shirt coming on. I hope it is here by the show. But that's coming in. They got Dinner Debonair. Then they have the steak, or that was the steak dinner. But they also had, after that, they had the town hall meeting, which was also really good. It showed that the inner circle outside of Jericho really doesn't want MJF. But the reason they might get him is because Chris Jericho is toying around with the idea. And now the inner circle might have a little bit of tension if Chris Jericho were to lose to MJF, because half of the inner circle doesn't mess with MJF, while only Chris Jericho does. Maybe that creates some inner tension. Maybe we see a scenario where Chris Jericho and MJF split their own way against possibly Ortiz and Santana. Maybe we get a tag team situation because they fell apart. Maybe Sammy Guevara goes off on his own. Maybe Sammy Guevara goes and leads that group on his own. I don't know what can happen, but this is a very interesting scenario, because if MJF is to win at Full Gear on the pay-per-view, he will be joining the inner circle. Now, it's up in the air about what that means. Maybe some of the inner circle will dip out. Maybe they'll all be together. Maybe they'll come into union. Maybe Chris Jericho will demand that Santana, Ortiz, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager, they just accept him and call it a day. I don't know. I don't know what that means. But I'm going to have to go off on a limb, and I'm going to have to say, because MJF lost to Moxley, which they did heavily protect MJF in, I'm going to say he beats Chris Jericho at Full Gear, and he will be joining the inner circle. That is what I'm going with. Next, we get into the tag team match for the AEW World Championships. Now, there is a stipulation on this match, and this stipulation is if the Young Bucks lose at Full Gear, they will never be able to challenge for the AEW World Tag Team Championships anymore. Not again. Not going to happen. This is what they did with Cody. This is what they did with Cody when he went up for the championship. MJF was in his corner. He screwed him over. We all know. We've all seen it. We all know that they've already done this about 8-9 months ago. The real question is it going to give us the same result? Is this another example of the management in AEW being selfless? I don't think so. I'm not saying they're selfish. I'm just saying I don't think this is another example of it. Yes, it is an opportunity for the Young Bucks to be selfless. I think the Young Bucks will be more than happy not to ever have another championship opportunity as long as their product is thriving. But I believe Tony Khan is going to make the executive decision, because if you keep a team like the Young Bucks out of the tag team championship scenario, what do you got? You can't put them off on solo runs. They're better together. They're better together. I seriously don't understand how you'd split them apart. They're brothers. It doesn't make much sense. They run a very similar gimmick. It's not gonna make sense to split them apart. Have them chase any other titles. It's not gonna have, I mean, what the point? What would the point be of them wrestling in tag team matches if they don't? Unless they're bringing in possibly a trios title, which makes a little sense. Unless they add another Young Buck, which would also make no sense. I'm gonna have to go with the obvious decision here. Usually, I would pick against the stipulation, just because that is basically the unpredictable. It's predictable because it's unpredictable, and I would assume that would happen just because all the odds are stacked against them. But I'm gonna have to do it this time. I'm gonna have to take the Young Bucks. I'm gonna have to go with the predictable route. I'm sorry. I just can't see the Young Bucks, Tony Khan willingly letting the Young Bucks not challenge for the championships ever again. I can't see it. I can't see it. Maybe the Young Bucks get in his ear and say, you know what, we don't need them. That's great. That's great if they. But another example of selflessness from the AEW management. That is major. When you can have a pro wrestler such as Cody, such as the Young Bucks, put stipulations like this where they won't have to be the champions, they won't have to be the guy running the show, and they can still be prominent features on the show, and they can still run a solid show, I would say that's a success. I'm going to have to go with the Young Bucks. It's unfortunate for FTR. I don't think it's their time yet, to be quite honest with you. Yes, it is a dream match. It's a match everybody's been clamoring for over the last 3-4 years. But they haven't held it long enough. Are the Young Bucks the right team to beat FTR? Absolutely. But I guess it has to be now, because they're not getting another shot. They're not getting another shot. Then we get Cody versus Darby Allin for the AEW TNT Championship. I imagine this show will actually probably start off the night for us, as sometimes the TNT title does. It's the Workhorse Championship. It's the working man's, the fighting champions championship in Cody. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought Orange Cassidy was gonna win the championship off Cody. It would make sense here to give it to Darby. Darby's already went up against Cody and had strong performances twice. The third time's going to be the charm, in my opinion. He barely just got over Cassidy. He has Darby Allin sitting in front of him. Outside of Darby Allin, there's not much more else in that mid-card scene unless Eddie Kingston comes on down, unless Sammy Guevara splits. I don't think Kip Sabian and Miro are in play here. Darby Allin, I think you give it to Darby Allin at the pay-per-view. Yes, he still has a feud with Ricky Starks. I would not have Ricky Starks interfere in this match, even though he said he is going to make sure that Darby is going to have a rough time. No. I would have Darby win this match, and then on the Wednesday following, the Wednesday of AEW next week, we should get Darby Allin being confronted by Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks takes issue that he won the championship. Should have been his opportunity, this, that. And then we get that feud going for the next show. But I don't think you have Ricky Starks interfere here. I think you go with Darby Allin. Then we got a match that I think is a jump ball. I really do. I really do, because I didn't think we were getting a part 2. I did not think we were going to get Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston part 2 in an I Quit match for the AEW World Championship. I did not think we were getting a part 2. But I think AEW saw the love that this fan base has for Eddie Kingston, the respect that this fan base has for Eddie Kingston, and they wanted to see if they could capitalize on it. And they might. They might capitalize on the love for Eddie Kingston. I don't think I've talked to a single person. I don't think I've heard a single thing about anybody not respecting, not liking Eddie Kingston. Everything I've seen on social media, everything I've seen people talk about, everybody says the same opinion about Eddie Kingston. They all love him. He's one of those guys that he's just gonna go in there. He's gonna do what needs to be done. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna beat some ass. He's not gonna question things. No bullshit with him. He's just gonna do what he does, say what he thinks he needs to say, and no questions asked. One of the best promos they have. I think that's something a lot of people like to gravitate towards. And then he's going up against Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, obviously one of the most badass people in all of wrestling. You put them in an I Quit match. I can't see either man quitting. I really can't. Eddie Kingston, I see him uttering the words, I quit. No. Do I see Jon Moxley sitting there on the ground, laying there, saying, I quit? No. No. Why can't I see that happening? It's because both guys have been built up properly. Both guys have a strong character behind them. And as much as I would love to sit here and tell you, you know what? I'm going to go with Moxley. I'm not going to. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to hope and pray and capitalize. Hope they capitalize on the fanfare that he has been getting. I am going. Just because I don't think anybody outside of possibly this Hangman Kenny stuff has a chance at winning the championship, I'm going to take my boy, Eddie Kingston. Sorry if you hear the yelling out in the hallway. But I'm going to take Eddie Kingston. It's a gut feeling. We have... How many title changes we got on the night? According to me, we got 3 title changes on the night. We could be in for a big night on Saturday if it follows my plan. It might not. It might go the complete opposite way. I don't know. That's why it's predictions. But that's just the way I think things should go. That's the way I think things will go. But as always, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, GamersGoonYT. Make sure you go over to the Instagram, thegoongameryt. You know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You hear it from everybody. Just make sure you interact with the video. Give me some likes, give me some comments, give me some follows. I don't really care. Just make sure you guys interact with the video. Do what you guys want to do. If you just want to like the video, just like the video. I ain't gonna complain. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back later this week for the AEW review on Full Gear, not the AEW review for tonight's show. I'm not going to be reviewing that. You guys should be seeing this on Friday. I believe I'm scheduling this to be uploaded. As of last night, if this is being uploaded on Friday, I would have joined Joseph Conlon on the Big Fight Field channel. I'm not exactly sure what time that is yet. We're still working things out. He just DM'd me before I started this, but I will be joining him for the Full Gear preview and predictions over on his channel for this weekend. So make sure you guys go give that a listen. If I remember, I'm probably going to link that in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description down below. But as always, make sure you guys do everything that you always know how to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Do everything you got to do. But I'll see you guys next time here on the AEW Full Gear Review.